Hello and welcome to Digit Review. I'm Gaurav Prethi and with me is Kunal Khullar. Now, the smartphone segment, we're going to be talking about it again because it's a very dynamic segment. Every week something or the other happens. And now something big, really big has happened. Google Android One. Kunal, what is Google Android One?
So basically, Gaurav, Android One is a project by Google. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to penetrate into the budget segment. So they will be, providing a special software, which is a normal Android version for, smartphone makers such as Micromax, Carbon, and Spice, which they have partnered, and they'll be providing a full support on the software side. So they'll get the newest updates quickly. And also that, along with that, they're going to get some special offers, like, they are bundling with the telecom operators. So you get quick updates, easier, if you want to update your phone, it will be much more easier than what you have on a normal Android device. So it's something which is Google is doing, and it has started now in India. So they're provided with a few phones where you can get the latest updates, which is right now it is Android KitKat 4.4.4, and when the new update comes, it will be on your phones right there as soon as it is launched.
So like we said, the smartphone budgeted segment. So now Google has also realized that this is the segment that they should be targeting. Right?
Yes. So because the thing is, Android has a lot of fragmentation, and there are so many devices available everywhere. So now it's very obvious for Android to come into the very, very low segment as well. And we have seen a lot of smartphones at this range. But with Android One, what will happen is Google will give a direct support to the manufacturers, which will make the experience on the devices, even if it's like a very low end smartphone, the experience on the device will be much more smoother, and it will be very stable. So what we have been seeing a little bit of little software issues on the phones. I don't think there will be any problems with that after Google adding Android One to it.
So in terms of hardware, I'm sure there would be a minimum requirement where this would be working.
So Google has specified, it's not very, very strict right now, but what they're saying is you should have a quad-core processor, 1 GB of RAM. Internal storage could be around 4 GB, 8 GB, that depends. A 5 megapixel camera, and a 4.5-inch display. So manufacturers can play around with this, maybe add a little more, maybe use these set of specifications and provide the hardware. To which Google will provide a separate software, a new version of the Android, whatever version which is there, it will be provided to all the handset makers.
So we had 3 handsets that were released, and we got hold of the Carbon Sparkle 5, right?
Yes.
And the Micromax Canvas
A1.
A1.
Yeah.
Where's the third one?
So there's one more. It's called the Spice Dream Uno, which will be beginning it later, and we will be doing that. But for now, we have these two smartphones, which are they start about 6,300, 6,400 rupees, and they look very similar.
Exactly, they look pretty similar. So now the next question that comes into my head is that for these manufacturers, how are they going to be differentiating, their handset from the other?
So Gaurav, let me tell you this. Now, since Google has just announced it, the first 3 smartphones which are launched, they're quite similar. They even look similar because I think this is the
I think the only difference would be the design of the cameras.
Yeah, they look very similar, and even the Spice handset which I had seen at the event, it also looks very similar. There's not a lot of difference. So I think the idea behind it is because this is the first batch of phones, they look quite similar and they have exactly the same hardware specifications and even the same software, as obviously it's going to be the same. So now Google has partnered with 9 more OEMs.
Okay.
So it includes HTC, ASUS, and all the big brands. So they will be coming up with their batch of handsets. Now we're not very sure if they're going to put their own custom UI on top, but we are sure that it will be coming on the latest update. It could look quite similar. I'm not very sure about that, but we'll have to wait and watch. What these manufacturers are up to with the Android One program.
So where does the Android One project leaves these players? I mean, it certainly gives them an entry into the already hot the budget smartphone segment. But then, how do you think they would be differentiating each other, their smartphone from the others?
I mean, these brands have been pretty good in the Indian market
Yeah.
because they provide good handsets at a very reasonable price.
Mm-hmm.
But now what will happen is once Android One, it has established itself,
Mm-hmm.
so it will be providing a much better software backup to the hardware. So earlier whatever handset we have reviewed,
Mm-hmm.
they had a slight bit of a problem, a slight stuttering or a bit of lag.
Mm-hmm.
But now Google will provide you a proper backup of the software. The manufacturers don't have to worry about anything on the software part. They just have to design it.
Okay.
Google will provide the updates, and since every new update will be pushed in as soon as possible, you will have the best experience on the device.
Okay, now what was your impression of the Micromax Canvas A1?
To be very honest, it looks like a very, very normal Micromax device, which we have seen. Of course, you get a Android One, kind of a branding on it. All of the devices will have that. And to be very honest, it doesn't look all that bad for something about 6,000-7,000. A lot of people have been asking, how does it look for the Moto E? How it is comparing to Moto E or Moto G standards. To be very honest, the software experience has been very good. It's smooth. I don't see any problems with the device. It looks very fluid, and you get the latest update. As you can see, you also get the Google Now on it. You get the latest softwares available on Google, all of the smartphones which you get. So overall, I think the software part is very stable. I have no issues with it. Yes, of course, we are still reviewing it. We are still, trying to catch hold of what kind of performance level it provides. We've done some benchmarks, and I think it's very good. If I come to the design, it's very, very standard. There's nothing really big about it. It's all plastic.
I can see my fingerprints.
Yeah, you can see fingerprints, but to be honest, it has a nice matte finish to
Yeah.
it. It doesn't look like one of those really, really, cheap-looking smartphones which you won't like to hold. But it's nice. It feels good in the hand. It has a good weight to it. The display is actually very nice. I really like the display. I think it's an IPS panel with a 480p resolution. This is not 720p, but still manages to give you bright colors.
Yeah.
It's bright enough. It's sharp. So I think the experience on the device has been pretty good, and it has a very good potential to in the coming few months or so. I think it has a very good potential in the market.
So this just means that everyone deserves a good smartphone, and you can have one of these. But now the next thing that comes to my mind is that all these phones are right now available on these e-commerce websites.
Right.
So that's probably the reason, because they want to cut down the price. But in future, you think when they hit the retail shop, the price, they would be able to maintain the same price factor?
So I think they will be able to maintain, because to be very honest, the online shopping experience has recently come up. Until like a year back or something, the prices were still standardized and they were maintained. And to be very honest, once when devices were launched, like maybe a year ago or something like that, the first price would drop down, because once it got into the market, according to the demand, it used to come down. But now what online retailers have done is they have put a single price, and they will maintain it online. Plus, this price will go again into the market on the retail stores, and it will stay like that. And I think it's a very good thing, because maintaining a price is a very difficult factor for all of these device manufacturers. Even when you have high-end phones, they come down. So I think it's gonna work.
So that's a very good news for all of us who are still using those old QWERTY. Now that's gone, but still, you can have one of these phones, Google Android One, and the phones are available online, right? They are.
Yes, they are
And
available online.
by I think October they would be available in the retail.
Yes,
stores
by a
as
month
well.
or two, they will be available on almost every retailing stores. Google has announced they have about 200,000 stores already in the lineup. Plus, they have a few, ambassadors who can help you out with the devices if you want to know more about that.
So, alright, so that was our first impression of Google Android One phones. We'll be back with our extensive review when the phones return from the Digit Lab. Thank you very much for watching.